This is Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel, bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com. And now here's your host, Steve Teel.
Steve Teel, Very Bold Radio and Podcast with Jason David. Man, this is my guy. I'm so blessed and honored to get to know incredible people that God is using in tremendous ways. This guy, we won't even go into it, but he has made me a game show host, so I have that on my resume.
That's true, yeah.
You've made me an actor on a kids show.
Yep, yes.
You've done a lot, and of course, we will be talking very soon.
We made you a rapper.
You made me a scrapper.
A scrapper.
You made me a scrapper. I usually shun away from the rappers. So
He's got a great voice.
You
got a great voice.
Well, anyway, yes, we will talk about that coming up soon. We're finally going to get to release those, so that'll be real exciting. Could not have done any of that without Jason David or the incredible Mark Suhonen. Those are the two musical geniuses that I got to work with, but we'll talk about that later because we are kind of limited on time.
Yeah.
And man, a lot has happened since you and Allie were here last.
Oh, man.
So I do want to say, just for the record, again on Facebook, that tomorrow night at Christ Community Church in Atkins, Texas, 7 o'clock, come out. Jason, David, and Allie will be there doing everything.
The Blank Canvas Tour.
Yes, if you're listening on radio, little heads up, that just happened, and it was so good. You missed it, but you'll be coming back. That's a place that you.
Oh yeah,
to.
I mean we're going to be in Texas for the next 2 months, so if you want to make the drive, all of my dates are on Spotify. Just follow my artist page. I Am Untitled.
I Am Untitled,
and you can see the dates. But we're in Texas for 2 months, but we always come back to Texas every year.
Okay, dude, what do you want to talk about? Like your life has changed completely. You are living on the road.
We can start there.
Okay, let's start there.
Yeah. So, well, my wife and I, we were living in.
Yeah.
Originally, let's rewind.
We've been talking for 2 hours.
I was born in 1988 in Flagstaff, Arizona. A few years ago, my wife and I, we really wanted to, pursue a dream with making videos and apps and stuff. So we sold our house, and we used that money to build that. So we moved into a cheaper apartment, and then those videos took off, and all of a sudden, churches were asking me to come on the road, to be on tour, to come speak at their church. We started doing that, and it started to get so many invites that at one point we had over 200 churches around the nation that wanted us, and it didn't make. Yeah, it didn't.
Man,
make,
that's 200 more than want me. That's amazing. No. That's amazing.
I'm sorry. That makes you sad. Churches, you should get this guy.
No. I'm good. I'm good.
And so, I made a map. It was interesting. My wife and I were praying about what to do next, and we did this thing where like, hey, I'm gonna go have some quiet time. She's gonna have quiet time. We're gonna pray, see what we come up with. And so I'm praying about it, and I just felt like I'm gonna pull up a Google map and just put a dot by every church that's ever invited us.
What?
I get home. Yeah. My wife has a physical map of America where she took actual pins and pinned where churches have invited us.
No.
Because I was nervous too. When I get home, I'm going to have to tell my wife, like, I think we're supposed to hit the road for 2 years. And man, and my wife, she's a homebody. She grew up as a kid, always moving home, and she just wants to have her home.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, this is not going to go out. And then she's nervous because she's about to tell me, I think we need to hit the road for 2 years.
I've not heard this story.
And,
that's crazy.
And so that was cool. Just like God connected it, and we knew like, okay, this is the next phase. And it didn't make sense to still have our apartment.
Right.
If we're going to be on the road most of the time.
Yeah, back in California.
And so as of, what month is it right now?
Is November. It is November, yes.
I'm living on the road. I don't even know.
We did a harvest festival recently. It is now November.
So in January, we sold everything.
Yeah.
We moved out of that apartment.
That's a huge move.
Yeah, and we downsized into a little classy RV, and we hit the road, and we're doing this. The goal was at least 2 years, and as we've been doing it, we've been realizing like we're
oh boy,
we're gonna go for 4 years.
For real?
We're going for 4 years.
Man, okay, why? I mean, you realize something.
Yeah, there's a need for what we're doing there's a desire. Every church we go to wants us to return.
Yeah.
But other churches are finding out, and they want us too. And it's like, it's just, we had enough churches to do 2 years.
Yeah.
But because all the churches want us to come back, and we still haven't gotten to all the other churches, it's like, to do that would take 4 years. So,
Okay.
But also, we love living on the road.
Do you both? Is it equal
That's
love?
what's amazing.
That's what I want to hear.
My wife, because we did the RV, she has the same bed every night. What was really hard is if you're like doing hotels and Airbnbs and sleeping in the airport. Because we slept in the airport 4 times because they always cancel our flights.
That's true.
And one time it rained on us inside the airport. Man, shout out to St. Louis. Get it together. Fix your airport. It was raining inside the airport. But anyway, love you guys. So anyway, to not have to do that, to have the same bed, same kitchen, she feels like she has her home.
Okay.
It just happens to have wheels.
It happens to have wheels.
So I'm loving it because my personality needs something new. I need to constantly be doing something new. I need new environments. I want to constantly be growing the tour and making the shows bigger and writing new songs. That's my personality.
Right.
Her personality is I need my consistency in my home.
Whoa.
And this balance of living on the road in a small RV, it is actually it's fulfilling both needs. Yeah. So we're loving it. Have no desire to quit. People ask like, "Man, are you getting
coming off
tired?"
the road? Oh,
and it's like, it energized. I'm more tired because we were just, back in San Diego for a month, and I'm like, that tired me out. I'm ready to be on the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Allie? Did it re-energize her?
No, she couldn't wait.
She couldn't
wait to get back out. Like, I think right now there's a grace. Because it's not logical, right? Yeah. Like, how did you go back home to San Diego and you couldn't wait to leave San Diego? Like, that's where tourists go. Like, why would you? Yeah. I think there's a grace right now of God being like, hey, I'm going to, when the Bible says God will give you the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
I don't think it means Ferraris and like Taco Bell. Like
maybe Mercedes Benz.
Maybe
a Benz. That's what it means.
I think it means literally he changes your desires.
That makes sense.
So like all of a sudden my desire is to be on the road and preach and reach people.
Yeah.
And my wife's desire is to do that. That's not normal for us.
Yeah.
God literally changed the desires of our heart, and we love it. And I will say, when we left in January, we thought, oh, this is going to be a sacrifice. I'm going to pick up my cross. I know God's calling us to do this, but here we go. This is going to be tough.
Yeah.
And it's almost like God was like, tricked ya. Like,
yeah.
Like, we had to show we were doing it for the right reasons because we really thought it was going to be terrible. And
wow, I didn't realize that.
Well, I hate camping. I'm not a camper. I hate getting dirty. I hate dirt. I don't know. I really thought, man, this is gonna be tough. And then we start doing it, and it was tough at first. I mean, imagine you go from your house, and now everything you own fits in a van, pretty much.
Yeah,
like
in a van.
It's tough. We're literally living in a van down by the river. Yeah,
right.
But now, within a month or two, we began to realize, like, oh, we love this.
Wow.
And I don't know. I feel like God hid the good part of it from us.
That's interesting.
So that our hearts would be doing it for the right reasons. And then was like, let me reward you. You're going to love this life. And we're loving it, and we're going to keep doing it for a while.
So I want to know, because your marriage, like you were working together, you guys have started and created something incredible with My Tribe. .watch. I don't know where God is taking that now with the Llama Show.
Llama TV.
Llama TV. I mean, you guys have created so many amazing things, but I want to just ask, and maybe we'll get to touch on some of that. But you and Allie work together even when you were in San Diego? I mean,
we
work
get
together?
this question a lot. Like,
okay. Oh man.
Hey,
right.
you're with your wife 24/7.
Yeah.
And you're working together and living together. Like, how do you do that? Because I've had several husbands be maybe too honest of like, I couldn't do it.
Too honest.
I couldn't do it, man. Like, how are you doing? But the thing is, we met as teachers. We met as employees.
Yeah.
Like our relationship was built on working together.
Yeah.
And,
in the same classroom?
In the same school.
I'm just saying.
But a tiny school. You might as well be the same classroom.
Okay.
And then her class, and then when I would teach Bible, she would be in with her class. She'd be in the classroom with me.
Okay.
So half the time, in the same classroom.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Field trips. That's where she really began to fall in love with me because, like, she was a summer school director.
Yeah.
And it feels weird me telling this story. She usually tells the story.
It's interesting to hear you tell it.
And it makes me sound like an amazing husband. But now if I tell it, I'm just like, hey, let me brag. This is how you get the girl. But no, like we went on like this field trip to Legoland, and we were supposed to give everyone a parking pass.
Okay.
Or otherwise they have to pay like $30, right? And she forgot.
$30.
And these are just volunteer parents who don't want to be there anyway. Oh. And she was like, I forgot to give them the parking passes. And so I was like, I'll take them. So I took them and I ran to the entrance and I just waved at every car because I don't know who the parents are, but I'm wearing the school shirt. We got our summer school shirts. I just waved, and if they waved back and had kids in the car wearing the same shirt, I gave them a pass.
That's funny.
And so when she saw me do stuff like that and where in a stressful situation we could work well together, that's where the relationship began. And so now, working together nonstop, I mean, that's how we met. It feels very, very natural. And every now and then, like, she lets me have my me time. You know, sometimes I'm like, hey, I just need to, like, zone out, watch a Jason movie, you know, which means, like, a movie that probably has more explosions than she wants to see.
Right.
But, you know, sometimes, like, I have my moments where I'm like, hey, I'm going to zone out for a little bit. And she's like, cool. And then she'll zone out. But the foundation of our relationship was working together. So it feels very natural.
Yeah. What makes you guys such a great team? Because when I think about like the Llama Show, I mean, she is an incredibly gifted teacher and you're this incredible communicator with just this big vision. I mean, you've put together weekly shows for Christian audiences, positive messages, biblical messages. And every week that you did it and have done it is like a Saturday Night Live like episode. Right. Only it's like, 3 people or 2 people doing it.
We just saw the credits for a show the other day.
Yeah.
Where the show, not for SNL, but for a different show, where it was like, it looked like the same quality we do.
Yeah.
And then it listed 50 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, it took 50 people to do that? Like,
there's people getting
paid.
There's
a cheaper way to do this, guys. But man, if I had 50 people, man, imagine what we could do.
Look out.
All right. So one, she's a people person.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert. People don't realize that because you see me on stage and you're like
a lot of comedians.
A lot of pastors. My own dad, a lot of my favorite preachers are introverts. People don't realize that.
Way to say that your dad is one of your favorite preachers. That was good.
Yeah,
he's going to like that.
And one of my favorite introverts. But yeah, when you're on stage, it is different because you're talking to an audience of one.
Yeah.
But being in a group with people is I have social anxiety. So what helps is when we go.
You do?
I do. People don't realize that.
What?
Yeah. I'm very comfortable on stage when there's like a microphone and you sit there and I will entertain you.
Right.
But I don't want to be invited to a birthday party. That's why when in Lonnie the Llama.
Yes, I was just there. There's
an episode where Lonnie gets invited to a birthday party and he's like, I'm freaking out.
Yes.
That's me. I'm Lonnie the Llama. I have social anxiety. And then in the show, Allison, my wife, teaches Lonnie what to do with that social anxiety.
Right.
That's her marriage. That's what she does. And so what's amazing is like we go to a church, especially if it's the first time we've been there, I'm so bad at first impressions because I'm just focusing on the show. I got to set up all the pyrotechnics. I got to set up the instruments. I got all of that. I just want to get in there and I'm an introvert and I just want to build the show, get it ready and do the show.
Right.
And Allison is like, it's so good to see you again.
She's so sweet.
And it's heartfelt because she means it.
Oh, yeah.
But she becomes the first impression people get of us.
Oh, okay.
I send her in first.
You send her in first.
And then, her smile and her love and her joy.
Yeah.
And people are like, man, Jason is so friendly.
Jason is so friendly.
Jason's wife is friendly.
Yeah.
And Jason is friendly once he's comfortable.
Yeah.
But Jason has social anxiety and he's not comfortable till he gets to know you. And so I don't make good first impressions. And so that's an example of where our teamwork really helps.
Yeah.
She can kind of be that first impression. And what happens is then once I do the show, people are like, oh my gosh, Jason, that was amazing. And they feel like they get to know me because I'm very open and transparent on stage. And that's my way of getting comfortable. It's almost like I need to be on stage and do my show for you, and then I'll be comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really want to be on stage. Yeah. So Allison's running all the pyrotechnics because she's doing all the behind the scenes stuff. Wow. And that's another way where we complement each other. Like you said, she writes the curriculum. I then take it and turn it into a funny episode. Like her strength and then my strength.
Oh,
and
it's amazing.
They're both needed, so that's how we work well together.
Yeah. All right. I want to shout out because last time I didn't get to say hi to Samantha, who is watching. So, Samantha.
Hi, Samantha.
Don't forget tomorrow night, Samantha, if you're available, we're going to go to Christ Community Church again in Adkins, Texas.
Yes.
With Pastor Brian, Darlene Harkins.
Tour.
Yes. There you go. Thank you. Pastor Randy and Mary Harkins. And this guy. Talk to us a little bit for our Facebook people about what you're doing on tour, what they can expect.
Yeah, the Blank Canvas Tour is a combination of concert meets stand-up comedy, meets preaching, meets worship, meets Broadway theatrical experience. There's a lot going on. That's a
lot.
There's pyrotechnics, there's visual effects, there's acting, there's music. There's a lot going on. But basically what it is, my new album, Blank Canvas.
Yeah, it is great. By the way,
thank you.
I've been talking about it on your podcast. Yeah. It is great. I'm telling you.
And I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I thought that part of my story was done, making music. Like, for those who don't know,
I
lost 80% of my tongue to stage 4 cancer. I was told I would never sing or preach again. And so I really thought I wasn't going to make music anymore. And now, here we are. I got a new album called Blank Canvas. And what the show is, the album has 10 songs. The show, we take 5 of those songs.
Okay.
And we spread them out through the show. And they tell a story. Mm-hmm. And in between each song, there's stand-up comedy or preaching or storytelling or acting or theatrical, whatever. And it tells this, 90-minute epic story of everything that God did, but using every type of medium of art because that tour is called Blank Canvas. And so there's analogies to painting and songwriting and all these styles of art. So we use all the styles of art to tell this story. And it's all based on Ephesians chapter 2, where it says, we are God's workmanship, God's handiwork, God's masterpiece. The actual Greek word is poema. We are God's poema, which is where we get the English word poem. And so, if I'm God's poem, if I'm God's song, like we're going to feature music and we're going to feature art. And we're going to feature all these ways to express this creative story of how God can take your song and turn it into something beautiful and turn it into a masterpiece. You are God's poema. So that's what the show is about, is that you are God's poema. And we even do an improv song in the show.
Oh my gosh.
Where the audience and I write a song together.
Okay.
And every show is different because it's made up on the spot.
Every show is different. Oh,
because I'm trying to show how songwriting works so that you can really begin to understand how we are God's song and the best is yet to come. So don't give up because the best part of the song is just around the corner. It's just super encouraging. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. But it'll definitely encourage you to not give up and to really see your identity more clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. In the last 6 minutes or so that we have, do you want to talk about the album? Do you want to talk about the Llama Show? Do you want to talk about, what do you want to talk about? My Tribe?
Yeah.
What do we want to talk about?
The most recent thing is the album.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know how to find it, we've been uploading a single every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then in January, the whole album will drop.
Okay.
Well, the album is called Blank Canvas, but if you're looking for it on Spotify, Apple Music, all of that, my artist name is I Am Untitled. And once again, I get that from Ephesians chapter 2, where it says, we are God's poema. Now, when I'm writing a song, even when I wrote this album, I didn't give it a title until I had finished writing it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know the album was going to be called Blank Canvas. I didn't know that. But once I finished the album, I took a look back at it and saw the whole picture of what it became. And that felt like that's what I'm going to call it. Well, in Philippians, it says, God, like he who began a good work in you will complete it. which means he's began it, but he hasn't finished. So if I am God's poema, if I am his work of art, his song, his poem, he has begun writing my poem, but he hasn't finished writing it yet. And therefore, he hasn't given me a title.
Yeah, come on.
And so therefore, I am untitled. So the labels that this world tries to give me, those labels don't apply to me because this world didn't make me. And I can't let their words make me someone I am not.
That's good.
God made me, so he gets to label me. He gets to title me. And right now, I am untitled. And so that became my artist name. Because what happened is when my song These Walls went viral.
Oh, that's right. I mean, some people who don't know your story don't know about that.
Anyway, I was told I'd never sing again, right?
Right.
And then I had a song go viral because, hey, I can sing. And it was called These Walls. It was a worship song. And it's still, people are still listening to it.
Around the world.
Around the world is singing it in different languages and churches and all this stuff. And, but when that song, came out, I just, I don't know. I didn't expect what would happen.
Yeah.
What would happen next? But the song goes viral, and then if we fast forward to blank canvas of getting to make music again. But I honestly forget where I was going with that. What was that?
You're just talking about. I think you're probably talking about. Just how God, he's creating the canvas. And then we've been talking about this for 2 hours. So that's why, that's why we're both a little bit.
Did I already say this?
No, you did not say it. You did not say what you're about to say. I know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the song goes viral and then, it's still going. And so then, it opens up the doors to go on tour.
You become this big hero to people.
This hero to people that I wasn't expecting.
Because you're on TV. You're on all these TV programs talking about you as a hero, and they're lifting you up. And then
yes, I was on 700 Club, and Fox, and NBC, and in the midst of all that, I was still just trying to survive. I was trying not to die. Yeah, and it was hard. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I wrote a song that resonated with so many people. I'm grateful that I was given this opportunity, but at the same time, it was very challenging because I wasn't quite ready for the spotlight because I was still trying to heal from everything that had happened, from the cancer and all of that. Yeah. So anyway, I found healing. And then it seemed like music was over, was behind me. Yeah. And
that dream had died.
Like that dream had died. And so then my wife and I went into, making videos and making apps and all this stuff. Yeah. And all of a sudden, while we were on tour, a church in Ohio said, "Hey, we have a recording studio and we would love to have you make some music here." Yeah. I go in there, we're going to make 1 or 2 songs, and then the producer and I, we just clicked. Yeah. It's funny because I'm Jason, his name is Dave. And so it's almost Jason David. Yeah. And so we end up making this album. But when we made the album, we had to figure out, what's the artist name going to be? Yeah. And, to go back to why I brought up These Walls is when These Walls went viral, my pastor said, "I want you to make a recording of it because, people want to hear a studio version of it." And then I'm like, well, what am I going to call the artist name? And he was like, well, just put it under your name. And it felt weird. I didn't want to say Jason David because I knew the church was going to promote it. And it just felt weird to be like, Jason David, these, you know what I mean? I felt like I was taking credit for the miracle God had done. And it felt icky. Well, at the time, I had named the youth group I Am Untitled because I knew that young people were tired of labels. When I went to that church, they said, "Hey, come up with a new name for the youth group." Yeah. And I'm like, well, I think they're tired of names. So our new name is that we don't have a name.
That's good.
And even if you look at my logo, it says Untitled. And even that is crossed out. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't.
You got labels.
Yeah,
up
labels
there crossed out. Yeah.
So anyway, I decided I'm not going to name it Jason David. I'm going to name it I Am Untitled. Fast forward, we're making this new album, and my producer says, "Hey, what's the artist name going to be? Is it going to be Jason David?" And I'm like, it feels weird. We look up I Am Untitled, my previous artist name. 20,000 people are listening on Spotify every month. And I was like, wait, what? I hadn't checked my Spotify account in 4 years because what was the point? I wasn't going to I thought I wasn't making music anymore. Right. when I realized there were people who are hungry for new music,
Yeah.
I was like, this album,
It's already there.
This album is going to go under that same artist name. And so I just tried to make something that people would, I guess it was.
Now it's 45,000.
We have 45,000
monthly on Spotify.
Oh my gosh.
You went from 20,000
to 45,000.
Yeah, pretty quick.
That's crazy, man. That's so cool. So anyway, all that to say, you can find the album on Apple Music or Spotify. Anyway, look up "I Am Untitled." Right now, there's only 4 songs. There's about to be a 5th song, and then a 6th song, and then the whole album will drop.
Man, go hear those 4 songs. My goodness.
Which one was your favorite so far?
It's so hard. I'm not even kidding. I mean, When a Dream Dies, the rap part of it, I mean, all of it is beautiful with Ali and everything. But man, just something about the lyrics that you use and everything, it's just powerful. They're all powerful. Chris and I love Here Comes the Better, just because, I mean, it's not just your story. I mean, it's married couples stories if we want to be. Sounds Like Sid is great. I mean, Checklist, like, that's why when I listen to the album, I'm like, man, this sounds to me like if he wanted, it could be like a Broadway show or an off-Broadway show. And essentially, when you take this on the road, that's what it is. Because you're doing everything. I mean, you're an entertainer. That's what you do. So again, I'll just invite people to come out tomorrow night. If you're listening on Facebook, again, if you're listening on radio, he's coming back. Sometime soon. But if you're watching on Facebook, catching this later in the day, tomorrow night, Wednesday, that's November 13th, I think, Christ Community Church, Atkins, Texas, 7 o'clock. We're going to be there. Samantha, are you going to be there? Give a thumbs up if you're going to be there.
Are you going to be there?
Of course.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
That's awesome.
What? Of course we're going to be there.
That's great. You're going to love it.
Oh, I know. I've loved all your shows. So anyway, I think we ought to close out. Any last thing you want to say? Normally we would get to talk for 2 hours, but we're shutting it down because we've already been here 3 hours.
I will say, for those who are new to my story, maybe don't know the full story. Just check out When a Dream Dies, the song Steve was just mentioning. It's about a 7-minute song that really tells our story, and you'll really kind of get to know, because I know, it's years and years worth of story and testimony, but we put it in 7 minutes. I mean, it's shorter than this podcast, and this podcast is shorter than how we normally talk. So, if you really want to get to know what God did in my life and just the crazy journey, that 7 minutes is a perfect way to spend your 7 minutes. It's called When a Dream Dies by I Am Untitled. And if you find it on YouTube, it actually has I don't know if you've seen the video of it, but the video version, even more powerful because it has actual footage from the hospital. Oh my gosh. And even the moment I got to ring the bell and I was cancer free.
Oh my gosh.
So that's on YouTube. But When a Dream Dies by I Am Untitled.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. They're all phenomenal. Go and check it out. You can email me, steve@verybold.com. I want to hear about it and hear what you think. For now, I want to tell you this guy is not only anointed, gifted, called, chosen, being used by God, and I love it. And there's just so much more. We didn't even get to it, but you need to hear more of his story and just how you're encouraging other people not to hide who they are, hide just to bring it into the light. It's really, really good. And you want to hear more from Jason David on that. But he's being very bold. Hey, wait a second.
Ooh.
Wait a second. That's what we're trying to be. And I know for Jason David, I know for me that being very bold in any way, shape, or form, whether that's forgiving someone, whether that's serving someone, whether that's honoring someone, whether that's loving someone, whether that's sharing the love of Jesus Christ, whether that's praying for someone, whatever it is, for me, it comes out of a place of, wow, Jesus died on the cross for me. He was thinking of me when he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And before the creation of the world, it says in Ephesians 1:4 that, man, I was on his heart and mind. Like he chose us before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless. I can't be holy and blameless. It's got to come through Jesus Christ and the gift that he offers me, and he offers it to you. I want you to remember what Jesus has done for you, is doing for you right now, and will do for you. And that's why we can be very bold. So the Apostle Paul, he said it a lot quicker than I could say it. He said it this way in 2 Corinthians 3:12. Therefore, since we have such a hope, we are very bold.
Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel. bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com.
Steve Teel, Very Bold Radio and Podcast. We just have another minute or two of Jason David and I talking. You don't want to miss it. Go to verybold.com and you can catch it there. For now, I want to remind you that we have a great hope in Jesus Christ, and so we live it out. We want to be very bold for him. I invite you, I encourage you, I even challenge you to do that. That's what Jason David is doing. He is being very bold. I want to as well. The Apostle Paul, he put it this way, 2 Corinthians 3:12. Therefore, since we have such a hope, we are very bold.